Hello, SMX viewers. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Cory Henke, and today we are talking about 3 innovative marketing trends for 2023 and beyond. First, I want to highlight a picture of me on stage in 2018 at one of my first SMXs, also discussing video, because what we find is that some of the same things that I was talking about then are still present today. They're just more advanced, and I'm here to talk to you about those tactics and strategies. So back then, variation was still very important, as well as looking at how video runs across different platforms, especially that user experience. And so what I want to try to tie together today is that video advertising timeline history to give you a background. The next thing is looking to the importance of video, how it's growing and where it's growing, and then dive into 3 specific trends that have to look at platform, placement, and then the most advanced video placements that we're dealing with today, which are TikTok, Reels, and Shorts. So in the beginning, let's look just back at the history. And the chart I'm showing you are the top video platforms and how they've advanced over the years and how fast they've gotten to 1 billion users, TikTok being the fastest, but also in the time where video has shown the most growth, also through the pandemic. What is interesting about platform growth, especially when it comes to video ads, is how quickly things change. Facebook jumped into video very quickly. Google was able to jump into video with an acquisition acquiring YouTube in 2009. And then more recently, we've seen a battle in the area of vertical video. And when it comes to vertical video, this is where we look at a different timeline, where we're able to see how Snapchat, in 2014 really started the trend, developing Snapchat stories. But in a copycat effect, you find that Instagram with their story ads not only were able to copy greatly and take advantage of that, but also move past them in terms of user growth with that specific placement. Since then, we've seen TikTok ads launch, and as a counter to TikTok ads, you now have Instagram Reels and Instagram Shorts. But to highlight Instagram stories, you can see how much they move the needle from 2016 to beyond. And we're going to wonder if that same thing happens when it comes to Reels and TikTok, as well as the advancement of YouTube Shorts. So when we think about the importance of video consumption, I want us to look at this chart and really understand that between 2019 to 2021, we saw a huge jump in Instagram Reels, TikTok, but YouTube still remains the #1 place where users watch video. And so when we think about the years upcoming, 2023, 2024, we only plan to see more digital video ad spending and more mobile ad spending per user where most people watch video. So when we think about like how video is trended, one of the first places that we were able to watch video content was on linear TV. And within linear, we believed the huge value was the production as well as the story arc, because it sat in between a segment. So you were able to have like a commercial spot where a user was going to sit down and view. Now, videos changed rapidly to the fact that like we don't have to, stay in between a segment to view something. And so the next thing that came about was feed ads. And so as we're in the feed, we find scale. It's higher converting because people are in a lean forward environment. After in feed came skippables. So now we were only paying for users to make it past 30 seconds in a lean back environment on YouTube. And one of the advantages to B2B advertisers, as well as advertisers or brands that have complex products, is the unlimited length in video, where you could have somebody sit there and watch a video for a longer period of time. But also important was non-skippables, which reminded us of linear TV. And those have their own advantages, as well as more recently, the vertical full screen that we now see with stories, Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, but also is skewing younger. So an advantage for some advertisers versus others. One of the more, I think, important things when we think about video that still hold true is finding the right ad length, optimizing and creating variation within the story and intro, and then also the ad type, where that ad is being placed. And then more recently, where we'll dive into a little bit of data, is the bid type. And so I want to show you a comparison inside of Google Ads, where we're buying YouTube ads. And you can see that I'm testing a 6-second, a 15-second, a 58-second, which would be close to a minute, as well as a 2-minute and 24. And what I want you to see is like where Google put the dollars. And we see this constantly, not necessarily on the best creative for me, maybe the shortest creative or what YouTube or Google Ads thinks is best. what I found is that my 2 minute and 24 has 43% of people staying to the end, a very good CPC, CPM, and one of the highest view rates. And so you begin to see how like I'm able to test the different intros, test the different ad links, and then more importantly and more recently, the ad type. And that's where we'll get into like the placements. But more impactful than anything to video today is the bid type, which I'll walk through right now. So when we think about a bid type, and this data is specific to YouTube, you have a difference between direct response, video, and then branding video. So in direct response, you have a max conversion campaign, target CPA, whereas in branding, you have target CPM, cost per view, and efficient reach. And the thing that I want you to see the difference of is the difference in cost, the difference in cost per view, right? How many users make it past 30 seconds, the CPC, and then ultimately users that make it to your website. And you are also able to see the different links of the video, right? So if I click direct response, you're able to see that I primarily run 1 to 2 minute ads at 77%, but on my branding campaigns, it's primarily under 40 seconds. And that's what you'll want to figure out is where do I find the most value with the type of content that I have? And that's, again, why variation is extremely important. Now, the first strategy that we really want to touch is the platform. I believe this is, one of the most important places that you're going to find value with a video strategy. But first, we need to figure out if we have a video triopoly now. And what I think is that we do, and it specifically lands in the vertical space with shorts, Reels, and TikTok. And so when we think about like users, YouTube still has a massive, hold on all users across generations. But what's growing is the impact of TikTok. And I believe Instagram, has already like a strong foothold in like social. And so you begin to see that like when it comes to video, there's really 3 platforms, that you can really, I think, reach the majority of the world, if not the United States, in very unique ways. So if I'm going to give advice to a brand that wants to take advantage of video, it really comes down to the duopoly, where you have Google and Facebook ads, because these are 2 ad platforms that allow you to have access to YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. That then gives you 10 placements across those 3 sub-platforms, which allow for reach and scale, unique audience targeting. And then, the one thing that I would definitely make sure that you test again is that multi-platform variation, where you're looking at the different platforms and how video works, like what are those costs, what is that performance, and then breaking that down to the placements. And as you can see here is that running across these 2 platforms, you can get a wide variety of different types of ad units, from horizontal all the way to full vertical across just the duopoly. And so that's where I would, say start for any brand as a number 1 strategy. And so when you think about like which platform is right for me, it's tough, because I don't know you as an advertiser. But what I would say is that if you have something more complicated, something that's a little bit more business to business, something that needs a little more explanation, I always say YouTube first. I think you get a person who's going to sit and stay with your ad for a little bit longer, and they have some new ad units, that can help, solidify that. And you also get the targeting there too. If you need something fast, changes quickly, you're trying to sell something a little bit more at a lower average order value, I can get to understand that product very quickly. It might be TikTok, Reels, IG stories. There's just advantages to these different areas. And I try to outline, the most here. But specifically, you have character link too, if something, requires more text, autoplay, vertical landscape. And then, when you think about Instagram or Facebook, you get both, feed and stories. So a chance to test both. And like I said, variation is most important when it comes to testing. But I get this question a lot from brands is which video platform, would you consider most efficient? And I would say, again, it depends on your brand, but I consider YouTube, the most valuable impression on the web because you don't pay for that user until after 30 seconds. However, TikTok does have the ability to capture the younger demo in a way. And so it really depends on your product. I think the search intent on YouTube is great, but hashtag targeting on TikTok is also an advantage. And then also the ability to do in-app checkout, for an e-commerce brand and inside of Instagram. These are all advantages where when you add video, it only helps, move the needle, in my opinion. So when we think about multi-platform, analysis, what I encourage every brand to do is to begin to analyze your platforms. And so you'll see on the chart, a list of the platforms on the left, and then also their metrics: ad cost, impressions, cost per 1,000 impressions, views, view rate, cost per view, clicks, click-through rate, CPC, as well as revenue. And if I wanted to filter just for the platforms that have views, I could easily do that. And as a comparison, we can find the difference between a Facebook and Instagram, or if we just wanted to look at Google Ads, there we could also think about comparing Instagram and Facebook, here, right? Or if we wanted to look at a different brand and compare their video. And again, the multi-platform comparison helps you figure out where I get the cheapest user, right? What are those costs per clicks? How much revenue has been generated? So again, having that multi-platform comparison against your video platforms can help you really drive the amount of reach that you're looking for. Next, is something I want to provide in terms of like a wider benchmarking look. And so when we take 100,000 or 100 million in ad costs, looking at a $500 million in revenue across all e-commerce clients, you can see that there's been a strong shift towards what you would call like Instagram. And that's overall. And so if we look at just, video specifically, again, the shift is even deeper, and the growth of YouTube, is prevalent. But the other thing that I want to, really relate to the audience is that even in, different sectors, you have different ways that you're going to buy, I think, video media, and different way that things grow. And so I show this so that the audience better understands that regardless of what brand you are, you have to test and you have to understand, how your brand succeeds with video. But inside of these video platforms, as I've shown, are the placements. And that's where I think the exciting part starts, because here's where you begin to understand user experience in a different way. And so the first thing that I want to look at is stories. And stories are very unique because of all of the different ways that you can use a story. A story is different than TikTok. On TikTok, it's only vertical video. But within stories, you have the ability to test images, GIFs, carousel cards from 1 to 10, as well as video. And if you're able to take these different videos and break them down into sections like talking head, feature benefit, and lifestyle, these different content types, that's where I think you get the best test. In addition, when we look at Reels, right, we can do the same thing again with different content types: education, new product, new collection. It's just when we look at a Reel, it's only video. And so you might want to take a different approach from a strategic standpoint to focus maybe on things that drive engagement. Because I can save, comment, share a lot easier on something like a Reel, I might shift my content to something that might drive more of those actions. And because it's so quick moving, people spend a little bit less time. I have to really look at the beginning of that Reel ad to focus on pain point, the hook, the creative, the feature benefit, or the call to, or the potential call to action that I might move up a little bit because time is so short, on something like Reels. But those are the aspects of like stories and Reels that you get inside of the Facebook ads ecosystem that I think is one of their vertical advantages when you compare it to TikTok or short ads. Next, one of the things we just found recently is the addition of these 2 new ad units. And I wanted to bring these up because we don't have a lot of information on them yet, but I think it's important for people to see these, to understand. If you look at the placements in the far left, you'll find that we just had feeds in the beginning, and then we had stories, and then Reels came in. And now we have the opportunity to have post loop ads and, sponsored placements like on other users' Reels. And so we begin to see the advancement. A skip button on Facebook is very interesting. And so as the platform changes, I believe like our understanding of video advertising changes. And so you'll see a few new products from these platforms that I wanted to bring in here to help solidify that things are changing very rapidly. Now, when we think about these placements, again, the big thing that I wanted to showcase is just variation and being able to look at these placements over time. And so while I am showing you the CPM, the cost per thousand impression over time, the CPC over time, right? I want to be able to understand, how the news feed has, performed over time. And I can see as I spend more, the CPM has come down, but not necessarily by a large amount. And if I shift over to stories, I can see that my CPM has come down a large amount as I've shifted, to more spend. And so it's a great way for me to say like, okay, stories is going to help me drive a lot more scalability, if I use that type of ad. And then reels would be the same thing, where I'm trying to understand those differences on how I drop the CPM week over week by, 30%. But we begin to understand how these placements perform over time and where we potentially should shift our video to drive what we want as a necessary action. The next area we'll look at is YouTube for placements, because YouTube has a variety of placements: skippable, non-skippable. Bumper, non-skippable is about 15 seconds. Bumper is 6 seconds. Your skippable ads can be unlimited, like in length. And I still feel, like I said earlier, the most valuable impression on the web. But for long form, I think that is for a specific client. That is for that B2B client. That is for, anybody trying to really have a user sit there for a longer period of time. I find that founder videos, more recently, face to camera on YouTube have been working very well. And so that's where I would start, is having 2 variations of a founder video and looking at the results of cost per view, view rate, and completion rate if you're analyzing the video. If this is something more conversion focused, that's where you would put it in a maximize conversion rate campaign and maybe be evaluating something a little bit different. But, from a placement standpoint, I still think YouTube skippable is the most valuable impression on the web, and something that I think every advertiser should take advantage of if they have something that's a little bit more longer, complicated to explain. But one of the most exciting new availabilities in terms of like a placement on YouTube is now in-feed ads. And the reason why I believe in-feed ads are special is because they bring a user from a lean forward, I'm on the home screen and I'm scrolling, to immediately into a video lean back experience, because the only reason I go to YouTube is for video. Very different from in-feed, where I don't know if it's a brand or, it's kind of like a slot machine. I don't know what comes next. But when it comes to YouTube in-feed ads, the first thing that I would recommend is when it comes to the network, removing video partners. So it forces all the delivery specific to YouTube on the platform. The next thing is adding related videos. If you have like a hero video, maybe it's a 30-second or a 15-second of that, or 2 just related videos that you might want to put next to that video, so those pop up next to that core video. And then also we have to think about how this is in-feed. And so as you see the example, the creative piece that you'll want to test more than anything is the headline, the description, and the thumbnail. And so you'll see, like, if you're in a feed scrolling, you click on the ad, and then you're immediately pushed into, this ad environment. And then the cost structure is the other thing that's important, is that you are on a cost per view. And so, having that not pay for a user until after 30 seconds is a huge opportunity, I think, for any brand. But as we move on, video strategy number 3, where we look at TikTok, Reels, and Shorts, I think will solidify, where we look forward in 2023. Because when we look at 2023, platforms and placements, we know the duopoly kind of covers a lot of brands. At a placement level, you can see you can go in-feed, vertical, or landscape across 3 to 4 different platforms. So when we really hone in on this new vertical type of ad, what do we find? And so the first thing is being able to look at these 3 different vertical ad placements and begin to compare them. TikTok obviously skews younger. The interesting part is that it's got the longest ad length, right? It's 3 minutes and it's soon to be 10 minutes. And I find this in my own circle, is that more people are gravitating towards TikTok for education. So it makes sense why TikTok would want to create longer watch times. But it's also interesting because the Reels and the Shorts, those longer watch times and longer videos are either in feed or in a landscape, non-skippable or skippable environment. So that's something that was interesting. I think really different. TikTok skews younger, Shorts skews, I think, the entire landscape of age. And then Shorts is growing in ads. You can already run ads on TikTok and Reels. You can't product tag yet on Shorts. Definitely can do it with Reels and TikTok. And so I think the unique targeting between them is also interesting. Is the fact that you can do placement targeting on Shorts, potentially targeting some of your favorite influencers or creative. On TikTok, you can do hashtag targeting, close to keyword targeting. And so you get video with intent. I don't think we've seen that yet. We've really only seen intent inside of like text with search or potentially an image with Google Shopping. And then Instagram Reels, you get unique targeting, being able to reach people who have, interacted with your Instagram shop. And so people have shops on Instagram that have mostly e-commerce brands, and being able to leverage add to cart users there, previous purchasers and things like that, I think is an advantage for an up and coming vertical video opportunity like Reels. So one of the things that we think about with Reels is, or I'm sorry, with YouTube Shorts, is how it has grown organically, and now we're soon getting into this area where we're able to do paid media. But for YouTube Shorts, Alec Stipolsky is somebody that I found on Clubhouse a while ago, and I took this screenshot, and it said, he was able to gain 500,000 subscribers in 28 days. Currently today he has 1.83 million subscribers. And when I saw this, I thought to myself, there's people that go out and spend hours and hours developing content, sometimes days, to do 10-minute, 12-minute segments on YouTube, and they don't have a tenth of the subscribers that this guy does, that's just developing content that's under 60 seconds. And so that's what kind of shocked me. And then if you look deeper into it, it's like, how long does it take to get 1 million subscribers on YouTube? Well, the typical answer is it depends. Sometimes it can be fast, sometimes it can be long. But for this guy for this gentleman to take a business so far that fast, I think it's something that we should be recognizing as advertisers, to understand this is a place that our advertisers need to be, support, and continue to grow. When it comes to these short ads, this is where I don't think that we know the exact future, because they're just being launched. On the left, you get an example of more of an e-commerce ad, a little bit more native to the platform. On the right, you're going to get an ad that is a little bit more, from like the web. Gives you kind of that web feel. Looks very similar to a skippable ad today. I think it's going to land somewhere in between, and hopefully, we get a lot more options, but soon to come there. And then when we think about, Instagram and Reels, it's their game to lose when it comes to social commerce. I think that's their advantage when it comes to video, because they lead in influencer marketing, they lead in social commerce sales, and most people feel inspired or to make a direct purchase on Instagram and Facebook as something that, they're willing to do. So when we think about like in-platform shopping, they have it, YouTube on the far left, you have live Instagram, and you have Reels, the Reels example leading to a direct checkout. It's here today. I just don't think it's across all brands. And this is where, again, video becomes, even more important, because your lives turn into additional content that begins to scale. And so I think that video, live shopping, and the advantages that Instagram and Facebook have are so unique in comparison to Shorts and YouTube and TikTok. But ultimately, I think that, we enter into a very interesting time. And what I want to show you, in this example, is how Google is looking at a search term and then now providing, video results, for TikTok search. And while you can't click on the video and it plays inside of, Google search, there might be a time where that happens. But I believe that Google is on, its heels in a way. And I think what's even more interesting is that TikTok is now taking comment content and being able to link that into a video search, which is something that we just haven't seen before. And so that gives you an even different understanding of how search, intent, conversation could be used in the future to power brand equity as well as conversion. But most interesting is what I want to share on the TikTok side. So what I'm showing you is a 3-month look at the CPA for a brand that is running TikTok. And I want you to see how we're running broad hashtags, interests, and retargeting over time. And you can see the percentages each week. And then I want you to focus on, the hashtag targeting and, how it actually works. And I think this will grow. And I hope other, platforms like YouTube and Facebook sort of take note of something like this and are able to, really implement a similar type of targeting. Because I think we've waited, a long time to see, search targeting on, video platforms. And I know that we can do it on YouTube, but, specifically Instagram, I think it would be really impressive to see. And, lastly, I think the future of video, is vertical for all advertisers. I believe these are the platforms, of now as well as the future. And I know that all the brands that we work with have made them such a priority. So I encourage, anybody that took the time to make it this far in this video to definitely take advantage of these three platforms without a doubt. And, to all the attendees, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you in the Q&A next. Thank you so much.
Please take a moment to rate this session, then click the green Overtime button in the Dig Deeper tab to join us for a live Q&A.